Hello everybody and welcome back to another update video for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 where we have our third beta build for SimUpdate 5's beta and it's 1.7.9.0. To start things off, there's a known issue where ATC will always clear you to the altitude you have filed in your flight plan. If you attempt to fly at a different altitude, you will be told to descend. Additionally, after you take off, you may be cleared to an arbitrary altitude. This is fixed in a future build. Then we move over to stability and performance, fix the sim crashing during boot when both frame generation and smart docking system are enabled. For general bug fixes, they fixed performance issue caused by VFX execution, and I know a lot of people will be excited about it, the generated buildings have their windows and doors back. They disappeared in the last build, but they've returned. Then we have fixed an issue where going back to the home page from the free flight page, channel page, or activities page would have the focus be on the wrong tile, and added the names of the airport parking lots and gates when hovering over them on the world map. Install performance and graphics, fixed broken rendering of objects when ghost material, fixing rendering of VR controller models, and added support for textures for objects with ghost material. Aircraft fixed an issue breaking some behaviors for FS 2020 aircraft, tags once, delta, wrap, lock, disabled with motion controllers, disabled in VR, and disabled not being properly read. The Boeing 737 MAX 8 improved the calculated flight path for certain departure procedures during the pre-flight phase and fixed an issue where LNAV could sometimes prematurely sequence flight plan legs while in the pre-flight phase. Fixed an issue where the GS, I'm assuming ground speed, did not show on the FMA when captured with VNAV on, added openable cockpit door, improved cabin seats and cockpit LODs, and fixed environment oscillator. Or occluder. Occluder. We got there. I recorded that. Before you had the phase through the door, you no longer have to do that. The door now opens, which is great. And I thought I'd show this too, just in case you didn't know. The dome light in the 737 is also finally fixed. The ES30 fixed bad tensor definition. Glass cockpits fixed an issue that caused V cockpits meant to be displayed on the screen, example the F-18's HMD, to still display while in photo mode. The ProLine 21 integrated avionics system fixed an issue where the FMC could become frozen when accessing some perf pages and then attempting to open a different page. The flight system flight planning fixed an issue that caused the flight plan ribbon to not leave the ground for some aircraft without flight performance data. Moving over to the EFB, we got a lot, and I have some video over some of these changes as well, so let's dive into it. Planner app. Improve the logic used to calculate the geometric descent path to better avoid prolonged excursions from the default flight path angle. When importing a route, the option to automatically calculate cruise altitude will be toggled off if the route has a defined cruise altitude in order to prevent the imported cruise altitude from immediately being overwritten. When exporting a route, the cruise altitude unit selection feet or flight level is now respected. Fixed an issue that could sometimes lead to poor performance when automatic cruise altitude calculation was toggled on. Remove the black arrows from numeric input boxes. Fixed an issue where filing the plan with ATC could erroneously get the wrong IFR, VFR flight type if the flight rules drop-down was not toggled at least one time. The EFB no longer strictly enforces the selected cruise altitude to be less than or equal to the selected aircraft's altitude ceiling. Among other things, this stops the EFB from automatically changing the cruise altitudes of flight plans imported from the external sources, including from avionics, plan files, or plans saved to the cloud. If the selected cruise altitude exceeds the aircraft ceiling, a warning will now be displayed on the performance page. Replace the generic FAA contingency fuel option with a more specific FAA Part 121 option, since the FAA does not require contingency fuel under Part 91. Remove the auto contingency fuel option because it was redundant. It was functionality identical to the EASA option. Added warnings to the performance page when problems are detected with the selected cruise altitude. Added new options to configure performance for holding operations. These data are used by the new automatic final reserve fuel calculations. Added warnings when the planned trip, alternate, or block fuel is estimated to be insufficient to meet the requirements of the flight plan. Added a warning when the planned block fuel exceeds the selected airplane's fuel capacity. Added a new option to automatically calculate contingency fuel according to ICAO requirements. Added support for automatic final reserve fuel calculations. You can now choose to have final reserve fuel calculated according to ICAO, FAA, or EASA requirements. Fixed EFB causing runway light flickers. And lastly, fixed pilot weight resetting to 0 when trying to load weight on the pilot position on the world map. And I just recorded a couple things. On the left side is the old EFB and the current Sim Update 4 build. On the right is the new beta build version, which you can see some of those performance warnings. Really love the updated weather radar on the EFB. Looks so much better. Here's the performance page. You can see there's a lot more going on in the new update. Because on the current version of the EFB and Sim Update 4, performance page doesn't really scroll down much. But on the new one, we have climb speed schedules, cruise speed schedules, descent speed schedules, and also holding speed schedule, where you can do all that extra work that you're wanting to do with your flight. Pretty awesome. And then lastly, the payload and fuel page also has some new things, which we were just talking about. You can see on the left side, contingency and final reserve really didn't have anything going on. But now you can head over to the new EFB and put in a little bit more extra details on your flight, which we zoom in here so you can change with what we were just talking about from ICAO to FAA and the EASA options for your fuel on contingency and final reserve. For aircraft gameplay and ATC, fixed ATC VFR landing clearances when landing on a helipad. For career general bug fixes, fixed acknowledge clear to land when landing on a helipad, and added an exclusion area near important gameplay areas to remove vegetation. Had to look at it, I was like, what is TOR-MOVE? Mission, search and rescue. Fixed vegetation around target preventing to complete the rescue objective. Fixed an issue where electrical APU starter would be able to run when there is no power available. Certifications high performance endorsement. Fixed mission failure during pre-flight. For airports, they fixed a lot of wrong ICAOs for Kilo November India Charlie, Zulu Yankee Bravo Sierra, Zulu Whiskey Bravo Lima, Zulu Whiskey Alpha Tango, Zulu Uniform Zulu Hotel, Zulu Uniform Romeo Kilo, Zulu Uniform Quebec Juliet, and you get the point, a bunch of other airports as well. This one I'm excited about. Marine traffic fixed problems on ship orientation. It's been something that's bugged me since release, because most of the boats look like this, currently in the sim. Well, I'm excited to announce that in the new beta build, so far the ships are looking as they should, because this is how we've been seeing them since release, and look how much better that looks. So happy about that. Marketplace fixed a potential crash when exiting the marketplace right after launching a search. And virtual reality, updated virtual reality camera position on the 737 and Cabri G2. Fixed an issue causing multiple position switch to require releasing the control to move more than one position at a time. The VR, non-VR EFB states are now saved differently. Changing the size and orientation in VR will not apply the same orientation and size on flat screens anymore. And lastly, fixed a bug where the virtual reality preset option was not correctly loaded after a game's reboot. Moving over to controls, fixed action display checklist not opening the EFB panel on the checklist. Peripherals, fixed some actions appearing twice inside control settings, and some new controls added menu panel confirmation on VR controller's dominant hand button, or bottom button, well this is a tongue twister, for easier and quicker navigation. Activities training, fixed syntax error in updraft training. Dev mode, improved Mach number display precision and debug aircraft tracking window from 1 to 3 decimal places. General added sim object statistics tool. And BGL Explorer fixed incorrect parking information. The project editor, when creating a package with a custom asset group, the pop-up asking for order hint now appears at the end. The scenery editor support region code, transition altitude, and transition level for airports in the editor. Fixed sim prop container scalable in the editor, but not in game. Sim attachment editor fixed loading error there. And sim object editor fixed legacy fields always hidden in search dialog, even when using legacy is on, and fixed field linked behavior writing incorrect value. On to the SDK, fixed regression on secondary aerials on areas with both photogrammetry and censored military areas, fixed target position variable and world referential, which were computed wrongly, and then SimConnect fixed facilities pavement in able member always set to false. And lastly, we have the exporter blender fixed detail normal map on the windshield material, increased material UV tiling maximum value from 10 to 100, fixed material property receive rain not saved on clear coat and windshield, added documentation about actions set up in Blender 4.5, about the new image flags tool, and about the new logs panel. Set the default animation export mode to actions in Blender 4.5. This is now the recommended method for exporting animations, as action slots are simpler to use and export times are shorter since keyframes are not baked by default, unlike the NLA tracks mode. Fixed an issue where the clear coat extension export failed when the detail normal map was not found on disk. Fixed export of skinned meshes, it now works in all cases. Fixed export of skinned propellers, fixed incorrect positioning of children of a skinned node. Fixed reset origin not working correctly when the parent node also has the option enabled. Fixed export error when exporting armature in rest pose. Added a warning when exporting a skinned object without its armature. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Added a warning when reset origin is enabled on a skinned object. Fixed an error when saving. And fixed DA62 sample scene propeller LOD issues. And oh my, there is 1.7.9.0, the third beta build for SimUpdate 5's beta, out now for everybody on PC and Xbox. Still no word on PlayStation's beta starting, so just so you know, once I find out, I will be sure to let you know. But hopefully you found this informative as always, and I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.